So I was having coffee with a friend recently, and we've been talking about golf lately. This friend and I, and been talking about playing golf. We haven't had a chance to play together yet. Life's just been getting busy for both of us. And he told me a few weeks ago, he's like, "Hey, I've got some new clubs." It's like, for the first time in maybe my life, like, he goes, I went and got fitted. I got the best clubs that I could find within a reasonable budget. And what was interesting is he said, I hadn't been able to crack 90. He goes, no matter how much I played, like that was kind of the breaking point. And he was really frustrated. Now, obviously, a lot of us, if you don't play golf a lot, going out and shooting 90, like, you're thrilled. If I were to go play right now, I don't play enough to be mad about shooting 90, right? But he was frustrated that he was kind of maxing out at 90. So he said, I went and got new equipment, new clubs, got fitted, made sure they were the right length. He said, turns out I've been playing with clubs that were too long. He said, I got better grips, made sure it all fit, my body, my swing style. He said, I go out and I shoot an 89. And it was a reminder for me. It's like that equipment matters, right? And you could talk to an old golf pro like, oh, equipment doesn't matter. If you're good, you're good. It's like, well, the best in the world are constantly looking for every little edge they can get when it comes to their equipment, right? Every little, part of the club matters for distance. It matters for accuracy. It matters for how you shape the shot, right? They're always looking at and testing new equipment so that they can get just even a little bit better, right? 1% better could be really significant on a golf course. And so the pros are always looking for that edge. Now, for most of us, right, our jobs, there's only so much equipment upgrade we can do, right? Like, maybe if you're a videographer, you can upgrade to a nicer camera, or a photographer, you can upgrade to a nicer camera. Maybe you can get a new computer. Maybe you can get a new accounting system. Maybe you can get a new HR system or a new office, right? There are a few things in terms of actual equipment that we can upgrade in the midst of our work. But the piece of equipment we need to be focused on upgrading is our mindset, right? Most of us are out competing with the wrong mindset. When I say competing, again, obviously, I don't mean just sports, like competing in the game of life, trying to create, trying to work, trying to lead, trying to do things that matter. And we're being held back by equipment that isn't as good as it could be or should be, right? We're out playing golf with 20-year-old clubs. We're out living and leading and communicating with a 20-year-old mindset, right? That's never been upgraded, that's never been invested in, that's never been worked at. Well, that's going to prevent us from becoming who we want to be, from becoming the kind of leader that we're capable of being, from creating the teams that we could and should have, from creating the culture that we could and should have, from creating the relationships that we're meant to have, right? Because we're not competing with new equipment, with the best equipment that we could possibly get. And we're being held back by that. And so just like my friend Matt, right? He got new equipment and all of a sudden he had the best score of his life. One change changed everything. Well, what would happen if you upgraded your mindset, right? If you upgraded your equipment, your mental equipment, what would happen? The way that you think would shape the way that you act in a different way, in a significant way. You'd show up being more positive. You show up being more hopeful. You show up being more intentional. You'd show up believing in yourself, believing in others. You wouldn't be so negative. You wouldn't be so anxious. You wouldn't be so worried. I saw a great post this weekend on social media, and I don't know if it's real. It's social media, so take it for what it's worth. But someone had met this older gentleman, and he talked about all the things that they had lived through, right? All the world wars and all of these things, Great Depression. Like, man, you've seen a lot. Like, life must have been really, like, this season must be stressful for you too. He's like, no, he said, I don't read the headlines, right? I make my own headlines. And so it was, man meets the love of his life while fighting for country. Man overcomes adversity to find new job. And he grabbed this person's hand and said, old man meets new friend, right? Was the headline of today. What this man had done was upgraded his equipment, right? Instead of being overtaken by the worry and anxiousness and busyness and distraction and comparison that the world tried to throw at him every day, said, I'm going to upgrade my equipment. I'm going to write my own headlines. I'm going to see the world through what's actually happening. I'm going to own it. I'm going to choose my perspective. I'm going to choose my mindset. I'm going to choose to see the good. I'm going to choose to write my own headlines that build up my narrative, that build up my story, that make me healthier and happier and more at peace and more impactful. It's not about ignoring what's going on. You're saying, I'm going to play the game with better equipment. So what would happen for us if we played the game with better equipment? What would happen, again, in your relationships, in your family, in your work, in your health? If you upgraded your equipment, if you upgraded your mindset to give yourself an actual advantage as you go throughout the day, right? Who knows what's possible if you played with better equipment, right? Just my friend, who knows what score he's actually capable of shooting now that he has better equipment, now that he has the right equipment. He may find out within a month, and I'm out shooting 82. I'm out shooting 84, right? Maybe even lower, right? It wasn't his swing that was the issue. He needed better equipment. To give you another story to relate to this, I used to ride bikes, like not little kid riding a bike, but like road bikes. And when I first started, it was with two guys that I used to work with, and they were always a half mile ahead of me. Now, one had been riding for a long time. One started when I did, and he was bigger and stronger than I was, but like not half a mile. Well, about a year into this, I was frustrated. I was annoyed. I had been out of town for a weekend. They had both done an event and got a coupon for a discount on a bike at some certain shop. I'm like, hey, go get a new bike. Like, we don't need this. We're happy with our bikes. You might want to get a new bike. And so I went into the bike store and I asked the guy, I said, is this really going to make a difference? Like, what are we talking? This doesn't seem that much different than my bike. He said, what are you riding? And I told him. He said, this is going to be night and day. And so, all right, I'm going to trust it. So I got a new bike. The very next ride, I was up even with the guys I've been riding with for the past year. No longer was I half a mile behind. It wasn't that I was weak. It wasn't that I wasn't, as strong as they were, as good of riders as they were. I didn't have as good of equipment as I could have had. And that equipment was holding me back. All I needed was new equipment, and I was right where I could have been and should have been. So that's the challenge for us today, right? Upgrade your equipment, upgrade your mindset, right? Trade up from negativity to positivity, from worry to belief, from doubt to hope, from anxiousness to peace, right? Upgrade your mindset and see what actually happens in your life. See what happens in your work, in your relationships. Tracy, any thoughts on that? Kind of a short and sweet one today.
Yeah, that's really good. This hits the home for me. Kevin knows me because I'm a guardian. I am, I guess you would say, frugal. So a lot of times I'll just, kind of get the cheapest thing or like not invest in something. I mean, I was even thinking about my vineyard. Like, you have to have really nice pruners, and when they're not good ones, it just makes the job a lot harder. It just does. And I've tried it, and then I went out and bought the real good ones, but I can use that as an excuse. But then Damien says here, I know I have to be careful because I can use excuses of not having the best equipment. And I think he's saying, but I have to put in the work too, right? You have to have both. Right. So
that's right. Because you could have, that's exactly right, Damien, right? You can have great equipment and still be frustrated because you haven't done the actual work, right? Then it's your effort holding you back. And so both matter, right? You got to give yourself a chance.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really good. Great point. Yeah, this is short and sweet, but it is just a good reminder.
And it was just fun. He was so excited. He's like, dude, he goes, I went out. He goes like, I shot an 89. He goes, I've never broke 90 in my life. And it's like, and just to think, and it's not like he was, depressed and anxious, like it was just golf, right? Not that big of a deal, but he was a little bit frustrated. But just think of how frustrated we get with our mindset, with whatever, with our reality. One little change, like all of a sudden that frustration is now joy and it's now excitement, right? Which builds on that. You can build on that and multiply. And it's just, and for us, we talked about it. I don't know how long we've been doing Monday Mindset now. I probably started in May last year, May or June. So a little over a year. Like it does take time, but you can make better choices today. Right? You can make one good choice today to upgrade your mindset. And then again, 1% better every day. I know that's really cliche. Like people, 1%. Yeah, 1% better is still better.
Absolutely. Right? One time habit.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It's better. 1% better. Like what you may have the choice, right? What's the alternative? If you don't want to get 1% better, because you're not going to stay the same, you're going to get worse. Right. So like what's the alternative of not trading up your mindset, of not trading up your equipment to give you more of an advantage, again, in everything in life?
Mm-hmm. That's great. Love it. That was a nice little quick, concise tidbit of information we can all go away with today.
There we go. Nice and easy.
And now you can go pack for your vacation. You're done a little early. So
that's right.
All right. Have a great time. Can't wait to hear about it when you get back. And
I'll be much more tan next week, so look forward to that.
We'll compare when you get back.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week.